People are awfully cynical about politics these days, let me tell you. I mean, just the other day, a poll came out about Congress's approval, and well, it's not really good to say the least. You can take one scroll through Twitter, and you might get the impression America's about to head to a civil war with the way some people talk on that platform. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to say, hey, at least your state's government isn't Illinois'. I come from the land of Illinois, and let me tell you, it's a great state overall. No, seriously, stop laughing. Please, just stop. There are some truly beautiful areas of the state with the typical Midwestern charm you'd find in other Great Lakes states. The best part to me about this state is that you can drive out to see the wonderful countryside, but then head back into the great city of Chicago and experience all the aspects of a major city like New York or LA. But when it comes to local government, we're bad. We're bad. We're bad at it. We're bad. Now I can go over all the nitty-gritty between all the big problems this state faces politically, the most prevalent being the infamous budget deficit that's been going on for years, but that is boring. So instead, a more fun way to highlight how bad Illinois' government is, I decided to share with you all the Illinois governors who have been proven to be corrupt, which includes 4 of the last 9. Yes, 4 of the last 9 governors have gone to jail, but hey, at least we're better than 50%. I guess. We start with old Lenny Small, who was the Republican governor of Illinois from 1921 to 1929. So his administration was mostly during the 20s, or, excuse me, the roaring 20s, baby! We got new ships, trains, planes, automobiles, telephones, telescopes. Tell your friends to go to the bank and get a fancy new credit card, but hold up now. Don't overspend on products you don't need and be in massive debt that you can't pay off. And now the banks can't pay the loans back. Okay, everyone, chillax. Wait a minute. Okay. No, don't take your money out of the bank. It's a depression. Now, the depression would normally hurt many people, but not Lenny over here. Yeah, we're looking at you, Leonard. Why didn't it hurt him, you might ask? Well, it's because Lenny had already defrauded the state of millions of dollars by the time the depression hit. In fact, Lenny had been pulling this shit since before he was governor. While he was a state treasurer from 1917 to 1919, Small had embezzled money and placed it in a fake bank, which he then took for himself. However, the people were on to Lenny. So after he became governor and re-elected in 1924, he was taken to court, but he was acquitted with all 8 jurors supporting the acquittal. Now, there has been some speculation that there was some influence on the jury, which I just think is a radical claim to make. These radical claims stem from the fact that after the case was settled, all 8 jurors got government jobs, which is just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. Frankly, there's no way the governor of Illinois would commit such blatant jury tampering. That is ridiculous. Small would lose the nomination for his party during the next term and had another failed gubernatorial run in 1932. The law kept on trying to get Lenny, but he died in 1936 before they could catch him. Next up is Otto Kershaw Jr., who was a Democrat and governor from 1961 to 1968. The 60s were a very turbulent time in America, and for any governor it would have been a tough time. You had the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, the anti-war movement, the movement, the hey Jerry, can you pay back my Venmo request for the Chipotle movement, etc. And while most of this stuff was happening all over the country, one of the most iconic moments, in a bad way, of 1968, which very well might be the most crazy, in a bad way, year of American history, was the 1968 Democratic National Convention, where Vietnam protests were repelled by Chicago police, and it was brutal. Basically what happened is they just started beating up everybody, but that's just a little side story. Kershaw Jr. seemed to have life all figured out by the time he was governor. He had been in the military and even went to university in England. Yes, the guy was probably really smart, and that background probably helped him win the governorship in 1960. But in 1968, just before Nixon became El Presidente, Lyndon Johnson nominated Kershaw to a court position in the 7th Circuit. Everything was good, but wait a minute! It turns out since 1961, Kershaw had been a dirty politician the whole time, and nobody suspected a thing. Now to me, this is the most ludicrous story of corruption I've ever heard, and clearly there is something that I don't understand about this story, but here we go. It was revealed in 1969 that a park manager of an Illinois park had bribed Kershaw so she could set the race dates for horse races. What? Does that compute in, I don't know, anyone's head? In the comments, I would very much appreciate if someone could explain to me why a park manager would want to set horse race dates and how she had the funds to seriously bribe the freaking governor. The governor of a state, by the way, that was one of the most populated states in the country. This isn't Wyoming where you could just slip an Andrew Jackson on the table and get whatever you want. This is like a big freaking important dude. Anyway, the scandal was big enough to where Kershaw had to step down from court and was subsequently put in the slammer. Sorry, Otto. You should have just let the horse race states dictate themselves, man. Dan Walker is the next governor on our list, and admittedly, this scandal happened after he left office, but he still went to jail regardless, so I thought it'd be interesting. Dan was a Democrat who was governor from 1973 to 1977. He gained national media attention for walking over 1,000 miles in Illinois while campaigning, and yes, I just took that directly from Wikipedia, but damn it, I'm not a scholar, okay? Anyway, after he lost re-election, he got into finance, and he created a loan and savings company, which didn't actually exist and was just his private piggy bank. This tactic was pretty common at the time and led to the savings savings and loan crisis where a lot of hardworking people lost all of their money in life savings. Like, these people couldn't pay off their mortgages and other debts because the money was all gone. It was all gone, and they had taken it to buy whatever stupid crap they needed. Now, rightfully so, Dan was thrown in jail. Oh, wait! No, he wasn't. After Dan paid some of the loans back, he got out of the charges because, you know, the people who lost all their money, fuck them, right? You know, just fuck them. Who cares? Who cares? After Dan, we got a slew of Republican governors, including James Thompson, Jim Edgar, and James Thompson 2.0, or George Ryan. But seriously though, these guys look like the exact same person, right? I cannot be the only one who sees this. Now, you may disagree with me and think they are two different people, and that's fine, but you cannot deny that George Ryan looks like a stereotypical mean businessman, and that is because he is a stereotypical mean businessman. George committed racketeering and fraud while he was governor. Essentially, there was this whole big operation where state government workers were illegally selling driver's license, specifically to truckers, and like the horse race shit, I don't know why this happened. I don't suspect the biggest loot comes from selling fake driver's license. I mean, underage kids do it all the time, and you don't see people doing anything about that now, do ya? But apparently, it was lucrative enough where the governor was in on it, and he was subsequently put into prison too. Now, surprisingly, the team that defended him in court was from a law firm owned by James Thompson. Yes, the twin governor who served earlier. Also, strange enough, Thompson was the leader of the lawyers that went after Dan Walker back in the 80s. Do you see how it is all connected? Last but oh so certainly not least is Rod Blagojevich. Now, if you're from Illinois, you probably cringe a little when you hear that name because everyone here knows what a bad person Rod is. And if you're not from Illinois, allow me to explain. So Rod, like basically everyone else on this list, is a white dude from Chicago who went to law school and got rich doing law and climbed the political ladder, yada yada yada. We know that. What you don't know is that Rod was actually a boxer and went 6-1, which is a pretty good winning percentage and better than Logan Paul's. Just saying. Anyway, after George Ryan, the previous governor we looked at, got exposed, the Republican Party in Illinois wasn't looking too hot, so Rod wins the governorship, the first Democrat since Dan Walker. And he was terrible. He was a terrible governor. There were a lot of things people hated about him and his administration. There was the whole tollway thing, the fact he had a massive ego, got into fights with people inside his own party, and lots of other stuff. It was so bad that during his re-election campaign, the Green Party candidate actually won 10% as a protest vote to his administration, and he still won. But here's where the corruption comes into play. This dude named Obamacare, right? He becomes le president. This leaves a vacant spot, which means the governor, or Rod, would nominate someone for that Senate seat. Want to know how to make some quick cash on the side as governor? How about you put that Senate seat up for auction, and the highest bidder gets the seat? It's a pretty good idea. But the feds weren't fooled. They wiretapped Rod and arrested him while he was governor. So while this was all going down, the Illinois House of Representatives and Illinois Senate impeached him, right? Because he did bad thing. The vote for his impeachment in the Illinois House of Representatives was 114 to 1. 114 to 1. And in the Illinois Senate, it was 59-0. Both sides, Democrats and Republicans, unanimously agreed, yeah, Rod, you fucked up, and you shouldn't be governor. And thus, he was put in jail, never to be heard from again. Do you hear that? It sounds like a... No, it can't be. Oh my god, it's a presidential pardon! Trump comes out of nowhere, swinging from the rope. Nobody saw it coming! It was a presidential pardon out of nowhere!
Posing with a bet. LeBron James with no regard for human life! Has given the Cavaliers their biggest lead tonight!
You think you can stop the pardon, Anderson? Well, you can't. It can't be controlled. Even the Illinois House GOP denounced the move. But you can't stop the pardon? No one can. So Rod's out of jail with the same yee-ass haircut, but this time it's white, and now he's a
Trumpocrat? What? So those were all the Illinois governors who did a no-no. I know this isn't the type of video you'd normally see on this channel, but hey, I mean, I just want to make whatever I want to make, man. See you later, skaters.